spending time to get to know the agents, they don't realize how valuable that can be.
You got to talk to the agents, become friends with the agents that have been doing business for a while. You got to get their trust.
The value of knowing what's coming, you know, a couple weeks, a couple months before it comes, is huge.
Being in those markets are very competitive, right? And you get a lot of people that have been working in the markets for a long time.
Again, I think on our pro forma, we were thinking that if we hit everything, your profit was gonna be more, like pretty close to 30,000.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Revive and Reveal, the show where we tell the real stories behind the transformations that you see, all those pretty before and after photos on Instagram. We're here today to talk about a property that we did in Carlsbad on Syme Street. Is it Syme or Syme?
Syme.
Syme, all right.
Yep.
I'm joined by Devin Booth, the man that put it all together. So really excited to have you. And before we go into all the nitty gritty about the property itself, I just wanted to learn more about you. So, what was your life like before real estate? What got you into it?
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Daly is kind of a big name in the real estate world in San Diego now with got Brian Daly, Jen Daly, who I work with, and Jeff Daly. So
there's a couple.
And then there's
Kathy
a couple
Daly,
more. So anyway, so thank you.
That's funny.
And so I've been in real estate for 9 years now.
Nice.
It started out with doing real estate for cell phone towers, which is a pretty niche market.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of my family revolved around real estate in general too. You know, like my dad worked for Countrywide back in the day as a lender.
Oh man, Country! I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah. My mom is a real estate agent. I got an uncle that runs Voight here in San Diego, and then another uncle that is Butch Hayes up in the Bay Area, who does really well up there. So I've been surrounded by real estate my whole life, pretty much. So I knew that eventually I would get into it. And
was it reluctant getting sucked in, or were you like gung ho from the get go?
I was reluctant at first because I was like, when I was fresh out of college, I was 22, 23, 24 years old. I was like, no one's going to trust me to buy a house because I'm so young. I don't know if this is the time. So, I got a marketing degree, did my marketing thing, worked for some amazing local brands. And then eventually when I was, 2017, I got into real estate for cell phone towers. I was, negotiating leases and buyouts for cell phone towers across the United States and dealing with a bunch of easements and purchase contracts. And so it was a good way to get my feet wet. So that was a way where I was able to have the company that I was working with. They had like a base salary. So it's hard to get the jump when you're in your 20s to get into real estate and go 100% commission, right? So that was my way to get my license, get my feet wet, and then eventually transitioned in the beginning of 2020. Transitioned to residential. And
I have a random question.
Yeah.
Just curious. What is a cell phone tower cost?
Many.
Like what is a land, like I'm guessing you're buying land under or you're leasing land under it. Is
Correct.
That right?
Yeah.
So what does that cost? What is it? I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at.
It depends, and it depends where you're at. Like as far as the land, right? What tenants? There's tenants on the cell phone towers, right? You got AT&T, Verizon.
Oh my gosh.
You have
local
news stations, et cetera, right? So so it could be different. And then there's small cells which go on top of like street lights, or the smaller cell phone towers. And then you got the huge cell phone towers, that you see on top of mountains.
Yeah. Dang, that's a whole nother world. World. They call them tenants.
So you have, so like...
so somebody owns that tower.
So Mr. Joe Schmo lives in Arkansas, and he owns 30 acres, and he has a 100-foot guide tower on his property, and the company that I worked for is American Tower, one of the biggest tower companies in the United States. So American
Super
Tower
interesting, yeah.
would work with the landowner and say, hey, we will give you $5,000 a month in rent for the next 40 years if we could have this easement and build a tower on your land. And then, so what American Tower goes and does, and they reach out to Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and say, hey, would you guys like to be a tenant on our tower and pay us rent?
Yeah.
To get, service for your.
That is super interesting, man.
Yeah.
So then, so they pay the landowner $5,000, and then they're, hopefully they're making X amount of that from their income, and then it becomes a cash flowing asset. And
Correct.
Then just build a portfolio.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Man.
So different world, different world that we currently live in.
I know. Okay, so you did that, and then you transitioned. You eventually made the jump to the full on, I imagine, to a full on commission. Yep. Okay.
So I actually worked with my mom. So she's been a real estate agent for 15 years or something, and we worked out a deal where she would give me $3,000 a month for 4 months to be her assistant. And then after that, and during that time, I'd need to either close the deal, right? And I kind of had like a nest egg, built up at that point, but that like kind of helped me, not have a second job and just go full into real estate. And so, within the first 4 months, I grinded it out and had a couple sales, and stopped being the assistant, and and I was my own agent, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good way to start, though. It's just jumping into unless you have a decent nest egg, as you talk about, jumping into a full commission role with no running head start is tough to do. So getting started, and then having, I imagine you learned some things as the assistant that you helped apply. Yeah,
absolutely.
So you work in competitive North County coastal markets. You're at Compass, correct?
Yep.
And Seth O'Byrne Team.
Yeah.
Still, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So those are competitive,
Yeah.
high price points, but so it pays off, but competitive. What do you think clients value most about working with you and your team in those environments?
A couple different things. I think being in those markets are very competitive, right? And you get a lot of people that have been working in the markets for a long time, and it's really hard to break in.
Yeah.
So I think you got to spend a lot of time in the community, and you got to work your butt off, right? You got to talk to the agents, become friends with the agents that have been doing business for a while. You got to get their trust. But then also, build your clientele base in those communities and do a great job for them, so they, refer you more business in the areas that they live in. And I think part of it is just knowing the market better than anyone else.
Is there a specific submarket of North County that the coastal market that you focus on?
So my dream is across Loma Santa Fe. So Solana Beach up into Rancho Santa Fe. That is the territory. It's my dream territory where I want to do most of my business.
Yeah.
My business is all not there right now.
Well, it's good to know what you're focusing your intentional marketing and intentional prospecting efforts. So that's good.
Absolutely. So I live in Solana Beach.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time in
Love
Solana Beach.
Such a great area.
Yeah. So spending time in the community. I'm walking my dog through the community, talking to neighbors. And maybe if you don't live in those communities, then maybe you have a farm or you're doing open houses. So you do whatever you can to really know, the community well, right? Like if a buyer comes to me and they're saying, hey, I'm looking to purchase in Solana Beach. I know what's going to be coming to the market. I have a couple off-market opportunities that I could provide to them and show them, and really add value that way without just, okay, here's the homes on the market. Which ones can I show you?
Yeah. You brought up a really good point, which we're going to touch on in a little bit, is about spending time to get to know the agents is I think from you look on the outside, or you look at some new agents getting involved, like they don't realize how valuable that can be. And again, we're going to show a very perfect example of that here in just a second with Sime. But it's kudos to you for understanding that, like, networking and business development doesn't just only happen with buyers and sellers. It happens with agents, especially in an inventory type market like we're in right now. Like you mentioned, the value of knowing what's coming, a couple weeks, a couple months before it comes, is huge.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Outside of transactions and numbers, what part of being a real estate agent do you find the most fulfilling?
It's a very rewarding job, being able to, help people with their, create their milestones in life. Like purchase of a home is a pretty big milestone for a lot of people, right? So it's very rewarding to be able to help someone along that process. And you got to be a people person and like, helping people out. So I think that's, outside of the transaction and everything, I think that's why I enjoy it. And I'm also competitive too. That helps as well.
It does help. It does help. You got to have a little competitive edge, especially in this. So outside of real estate, what are you fired up about? Like, what gets you going?
Family, my little kids.
That's right. We were talking about that.
I know. Yeah. It's,
you don't have much time other than real estate.
9-month-old,
9-month-old,
3-year-old. So we're in it, and but such a blessing. So fired up about them, and other than that, it's great to get a good surf session in, or go golf every once in a while. But we're pretty busy.
Golfing's tough when you got a 9.
It's tough.
The golf game suffers.
Yes, it does.
That's what I tell myself. That's why my golf game sucks. 3 kids, but it's just a really lack of talent. All right, so we teased a little bit about this. We'll get into it at the big screen. You want to go?
Let's do it.
Dive into more about the property. Cool.
Yep.
All right, we're in front of the ESPN style big screen, and we got the photo of Sime House. So kind of alluded to this a little bit when we were talking on the couches up there. You intentionally focus on creating relationships with other agents. So tell us, how did that evolve into this property?
Yeah, so back in 2020, 2021, I had a transaction with Tamara, who was the listing agent for this one. I saw it pop up and sent it to a client. He was like, "This is great. Let's check it out." And like, when can we see it? So I called Tamara, and she was like, "Great, yeah, let's showing. We could show it on like Saturday at 1 or whatever the time was." And but they just, FYI, there's no water in the pool, so it has to be an all cash deal. I'm like, oh, bummer. Okay, so it doesn't work great for this client. I'm like, trying to think of, okay, well, who I gotta send it to an investor, because this is an amazing deal. So I worked with a couple investors in the past, and you got to really choose. You can't choose who you work with all the time, but for investor wise,
true.
For investor wise, I could have a choice who I send it to, right? So, through Seth, my business partner, Seth O'Byrne, you guys had a relationship.
Yeah.
And I know that my mom, Bunny, who's in real estate as well, was in contact with you guys. So it's like, okay, let me give them a shot. I'll send it their way and give them a little bit of background story. And anyways, yeah. So I guess we'll start with that.
Yeah. I mean, well, the key point I thought was brilliant is that you had a relationship with the listing agent because you intentionally made a relationship with the agent when you were doing a transaction. Some people feel like they enter in a transaction, they got to be combative in order to get things done. But the small community that we live in, and every opportunity to build a relationship with somebody else in the business, you never know what will come of it. And I think this. It was on the MLS. Yeah. It wasn't like it wasn't an off-market pocket deal, but you had experience with that agent. You did a successful transaction. You were clearly a pleasant to work with because she was willing to send this to you before it went on the market to tell you about it. So and there's just a lot of lessons in that of just being a good human and an intentional networker. Yeah, is how you build momentum, especially in San Diego.
Yeah, and so shout out to Tamara as well, right? It's okay to be, reach out and have conversations and good relationships with other agents, right? And then when you get in escrow, obviously you represent your client the best way you can, right? But also communicate well with whoever agent is on the other side, and and you follow through with whatever you say, right? And so I did that on the first transaction with Tamara. So when it came to this and I presented you the offer with you guys, she knew that I was going to follow through with whatever I said. Yeah. And so, yeah, that ultimately, I think, won us the deal.
Yeah, that's amazing. We're gonna show what the property looked like real quick, but I just got to point out, I freaking love that jacket, dude. That jacket is awesome. You got style. Okay, so the property, you were told about it before it was coming on the market, but it was coming on the market regardless. Yeah, yeah. It hit the market. It was a really popular home. They priced it very aggressively.
They did. Yeah.
So this is a pocket of Carlsbad. High demand, not incredibly high price, although Carlsbad is already expensive. Yeah. We know that. But I don't know if you can see it in the photos, but you had peekaboo views of the ocean, which were
absolutely.
You were in those streets that kind of go up the hill. It was a quiet little off street of a little cul-de-sac, so it was high demand, but it was just kind of a ugly.
How's that salmon color?
Oh man, that is bold. The one, I'm all for, like, man, you own a house, like whatever makes you happy, just go for it. Just do it.
Absolutely.
It's your piece, your home, but man, when you go to sell it, it definitely pays. If you're gonna go bold, you gotta tone it down. Yeah. But it was. The property itself dated. Do you remember what the situation was of the seller?
Yeah, the situation was the seller ended up passing away in the home, and his kids that lived up in, I think, Orange County or LA were selling it.
Got it. Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, you sometimes you just who has it's a lot of work to fix something up. Like, who has time for that if you got a life to do? So it was. A structurally solid home, just some interesting design choices.
And with the kitchen, actually, the kitchen was like a room. So I think the kitchen afterwards, the after was very, very impressive. So for the watchers, the before and after, I think, for the kitchen is pretty substantial.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think we'll have hopefully a good photo of that here in a sec. They did some additions in the past. It was they were very well done. Yeah, gorgeous ceilings, vaulted. Yeah. I remember I think you worked with Etienne most directly on this. I remember when he walked it, he was super excited because he was like, "Dude, this could be really freaking cool."
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, dated, structurally solid.
Some pink paint, wallpaper.
The big thing, which was the big red flag that you kind of already talked about, was this pool. Now you can't really tell here. It actually looks like a normal plaster pool, but it was of one of those fiberglass inserts or whatever. Kind of a cheaper way to do the pool, and it was kind of beat up. But the main issue, which was I remember talking to other investors that were putting in offers too. Obviously, some some buddies in the space, and they decided not even to proceed because they had no idea what the problem was. But they drained the pool because it was leaking. Right? It was they thought there was a crack in the pool.
And like the neighbor was like, it's leaking into her yard or something like that.
And that was a brand new construction.
And it was an expensive home.
Yeah, that was an expensive home. That's actually back on the market. I don't know if
it
you
is.
saw that.
Yeah.
It might even be pending now.
Yeah.
They're $5 million. It's crazy. So this was a big wild card for us and for for the buyers. It was on the MLS. Still getting multiple offers. You represented us.
Yep.
And we entered this transaction with the hope that we could just do a normal transaction. You get the buyer's agent, you represent us, we buy it, we go, we go sell it. It didn't totally go that way.
Didn't work out that way.
No. So I'll cut to the chase. When Devin wrote our offer, we started a number that made complete sense for everybody. And the negotiations were going okay, but then more and more offers kept coming in, and the price kept getting bid up.
Yeah.
And this is where this is a perfect example. And actually, it's funny enough because I think right before this, we did a similar transaction with Seth, where we did the U profit.
I think it was in Rancho or something like that. Yeah.
So very similar situation where property gets listed, high demand property, the price gets bid up, and we're like, man, we can't go any higher than this. Like we've got to, either we're gonna have to back out or we do something creative. So we did something creative. So this is an example of one of our U profit for partner structures where Devin, you contributed your commission to the deal, allowing us to pay enough to be the best offer for the seller, for Tamara. And then in exchange for that, we gave you 25% of the upside when profit. I'm actually curious. We haven't talked about this. What was going through your mind when we started bringing up this structure?
Well, this is where the competitiveness comes in. I just wanted to win the deal.
Nice.
Like I'm going to win the deal for my client. Of whatever it takes, and just the nature of the deal. It's like it's a lot of investors that are basically coming in saying, hey, tomorrow you could represent me, or I'll go unrepresented. So there's no commission on the buy side. So really, there was just the nature of the deal.
It was either we did something, or we don't buy it. Like it came down to that. I remember actually when we were negotiating, because Etienne was negotiating, I walked the property, and we had already increased our ARV. Like we went into it with a number, and then he's like, "Man, I think we're low here. Like we gotta increase it." And so I think I don't remember exactly how our offer changed, but I think our ARV changed by $100,000 from when we started.
Yeah, and I think we did up our offer as well. So there's we're reviewing it Monday at 5 or whatever, and I remember, I forget which construction guy I walked it with initially, but he was like, "Oh, do you know like those guys that were just walking out on the property?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, they're like the top dogs around here. They get all the a ton of houses or whatever." I was like, "Okay, yeah, well, whatever, we'll see what we can do, right?" And then so yeah, it was like Monday at 5 p.m. was when they're going to review with the seller when tomorrow was going to review with the sellers, and right before 5 we upped our offer a little bit, and I don't even think we were the highest offer. I think I actually wrote on the offer like, this is our offer. We're not going to change anything. No assignment. No bullshit. I think I put like no bullshit on the contract.
I think we have a little cover letter sometimes that we send that says no bullshit.
Yeah. So yeah, I really wanted to get across the point that, we're no silly business, right? A lot of, some investors do some silly business with an escrow. So I wanted it to stand out that, we just wanted the house. Yeah, we're going to follow through whatever we say.
It was non-contingent once we wrote it. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we already talked about that. It was super hot property. So anyway, we went back and forth. You ended up having to contribute the commission or go zero commission on the agent model, but then our structure allows, but basically what we say is like, look, we like the property at this number. We're going to give you 25% of the profit if we make it, but we're going to take the downside risk. Like if it doesn't make it, like it doesn't make money, then you're not going to make money, but at least you're not taking the risk.
Yeah.
So that ended up to be how we structured it. We put it as high as we possibly could going into it, understanding our numbers, and we took a risk with this pool.
Yeah.
I remember my team walked it, put our non-contingent offer, but they're like, hey, dude, we got to increase the number, and you got to look at this pool because this is a big concern. Yeah. The water was leaking, and the pool would not hold water, and it was leaking into the home behind. So there was a liability issue for the runoff, and then obviously a busted pool can cost a lot of money if you gotta if you gotta redo it. So we actually went in before we had a professional look at the pool, and we just had a pad, and we're hoping. I saw it and I'm like, dude, I don't see a crack.
There's no visible cracks. Yeah.
I don't think it's a crack in the pool. And so that was the kind of risk we took, is like, I'm not a pool guy, but I've been around pools long enough to be like, I don't think it's a crack. I think it's something else. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Turned out sometimes I'm right. So you get into the renovation. You mentioned like that. So that was the closed off kitchen right there, I think, right?
Yeah.
The big thing here, man, it's just opening it up. Like you walked in, you just walk into a room and then walls.
Yeah.
And so, our biggest thing was opening it up, and engineering wise, that required some beams and footings, and that's what we did. But man, it made such a big difference. So let's see, there it is. That's what it looked like. I wish we had it was kind of hard. It's hard to show when you got walls in front of you, like what it actually looked like, but it was closed off. But so one thing that I've talked about here once or twice, we try to go for is the sight line from the front of the front door to the back of the house, especially when you have a view.
Oh yeah.
If you can get the sight line from the front to the back and just make it open, and then get in that natural light to the front door, it just makes a huge difference when you walk in.
Absolutely.
I don't get involved in all the day-to-day, but my team talked to me about like the project. We asked questions.
Yeah.
They call this one smooth, which, as you see here, this is a lot of work. What they meant by that though is there weren't surprises. We went into it knowing that we'd have to open it up, and we opened the walls up, and we're like, yeah, okay, we got this.
Yeah.
Like, there weren't a lot of surprises. We didn't have crew issues. That's a big issue sometimes. Like crews run out of money or flake or whatnot, but they cranked it out, and they did a great job.
And it was also smooth where, I don't know if I've actually told you guys this, but after listing the house, the neighbors would come in and say, hey, you guys did like an amazing job. You guys were quiet. You guys didn't, you guys weren't a nuisance for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And like you guys did the demo, you hauled it all away. It was the quietest remodel that we've ever seen. And thank you for that.
That's awesome. I didn't hear that. I'm going to give more props to the team.
So
that's great.
Incredibly smooth.
It is, I mean, one of our biggest risks in doing what we do is code violations. It's neighbors
Yeah.
and code violations, and we we go up and down. Sometimes we get code violations, sometimes we don't. But we try to have like an intentional plan. It's like, how can we be sure, like, don't work outside of hours. Definitely don't work on Sundays.
Yeah.
And make sure that house does not look like a project's happening.
Yeah.
Because that's what pisses neighbors off. That's good to hear, though. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So this gives you like a hint at our style that we were going for, and we ended up making a pivot mid-construction. It wasn't part of the original plan or the original budget when we were buying the property, but I do remember walking in after we started, and there was a front yard, and I wish I had a good picture of it before, but there was a block wall, there was a bunch of trees. The house
completely overgrown.
Yeah. And the house sat so far back that you ultimately, when you got in the backyard, you had your pool, like a little patio area, and nothing else. A little deck. So we ended up. It was smooth in that it moved quickly and without very many surprises, except the one that we kind of put on ourselves.
Yeah.
We decided to invest heavily in the front yard, which we weren't originally thinking. So we ended up going over budget, but it's because that front yard needed some work.
It was well worth it as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
We barely hit our sale number.
Yeah.
So this actually does help us show what it was like before. So this is the layout beforehand. So this is the front door, and then you just had a living room and then walls, right? And you had to walk through a little doorway to get to your kitchen, a little door to get to your family room. Couldn't see through. You didn't have a lot of natural light. I mean, they had these windows over here, but the sun's going east to west. That's north. So it was just dark and closed off. And so this is where how we ended up. Obviously, walls gone, beams in, front to back. I'm sure there were some changes to the master bedroom as well, but that was the main change. And then there's some before and after. Gotta love the popcorn ceiling.
Yeah.
I love
popcorn ceiling with the pink paint, and look at the window there. I forgot about that.
Yeah. There was one thing that bothered me about our remodel here, which I've talked to the team about since, and I'm so nitpicky, and we just learn along the way. We're constantly learning.
Yeah. What is that?
We have black windows.
Yeah.
And then white windows. Black and white. White trim, black. Pick one or the other.
Yeah.
It's got to be black, and then
one or the other.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Now some of these were newer windows, which we kept, which is fine.
Yeah.
We had a super natural, organic. And it's what my designer uses. I don't know if that's the right term, but I love it. So it was like an organic, earthy tone finish.
Yeah.
Oak, very subtle gold fixtures, and then just this like pop of stark black.
Yeah.
So what we've talked about is, hey, if we're going to go earthy in the inside with our design choices, and we're not using black fixtures, we're not using black finishes or black appliances or whatnot, then let's use the black on the outside, white on the inside windows.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it affected us at all, other than my own OCD. But,
I was happy to see what I did notice. Okay, so you can notice that there were new windows, and I think flips in general and flips in San Diego, a lot of people skimp out on replacing the windows.
Really?
So I feel like I don't know, but
we do it.
but I think it's a big cost, right? So I love the fact that you guys did the windows.
Yeah.
And anyways,
I think the black windows with the right exterior colors just really looks amazing. It looks really, really good. So I remember when I walked, it's like, we got to have black windows here. It'll make it pop. But unfortunately, again, I don't think it's that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but I would have, I love the all white on the inside. It just makes it feel a lot more peaceful.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a picture of our earthy organic tones.
No, you guys did an amazing job from a design standpoint. You know,
Kayla
bathrooms,
Burns,
kitchen.
shout out to you. We ended up keeping those built-ins. It was great.
Yeah.
Built-ins are underrated. As long as they're like solid like that, I like keeping them. So that's the master. With the I didn't touch on it. What ended up being wrong with the pool was simply a broken pipe.
Yeah.
It was a broken pipe to the pool equipment.
Yeah.
It was a relatively simple fix. Now, unfortunately, the pool was that fiberglass vinyl material, so you can't really tell in the photo. It doesn't look bad, but when you get up close, it just looked really dated.
And then it was also it was leaking right here, and so they redid it. I think. Yeah.
This thing was funky, but we couldn't get rid of it because it was a vinyl pool. Like they tied it into each other. Got it all working. That actually helped because we had a decent pad for the pool. We ended up coming in under that and putting that towards the front yard. We whitewashed that brick, and this is where I feel like the black windows pop is when you you have this lighter color.
Yeah.
So as far as the renovation went, I mentioned we went over budget. So our original budget was 193,119. This was remind me, it was like 20 something, 2,100, 2,200 square feet.
Yeah, I think it was actually a little bit bigger, 24 and change, I believe.
So just to give you a lot of people like this, the cheat of like what's the price per square foot for a remodel. So we didn't have to do a roof. If we had to do a roof, this would have been more expensive. Usually on properties like this, our quick math number is $100 a foot. We came in under that. But projected budget 193, 119 with a timeline of 80 days.
And it's just short of that too, right? I think it was like
76. Even though we added the front yard. Like I said, smooth. Man, if we're on point on time, I'm a happy camper because time is what kills deals.
Yeah.
But we ended up spending $8,000 more than our budget, $201,512. So when you walked it after, we talked a little bit about it, but anything stand out in particular that we haven't talked about?
No, it was beautiful. So when we got it, so we acquired it, and then I had a child, and then so I didn't even like walk it too many times, and so I saw like the beginning and then the end, and I was blown away. It was a completely different product.
So I think we have a photo of the front yard. That's how the kitchen ended up. Again, wide open. Great design, Kayla. Need us to stop?
That was my favorite room in the house, right there.
Yeah.
And you guys did a good job with the extending the countertops, and it's a great seating area where you can enjoy, and you can't really see it in the photo, but you can enjoy the ocean views from right there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's hard to tell in the photo, but yeah, you get a decent ocean view. Sunsets were brilliant there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so those are the finished photos. I kind of already saw that. So I'll get to the numbers in just a sec. You helped us on the sale. It was so our original projected price was 2.2 after our kind of back and forth of getting negotiated up. I think we started at 2.1, and then we bumped that to 2.2. So that was what we went into it thinking what our sale price would be.
Yeah.
Now because we fall in love with properties, we decided to list it. We decided to list it at 2.3, right?
Yeah, we did.
Did you do you think I was too high? Did you try to convince us not to?
No, I think it was fine.
Yeah.
And we would have had, so I don't know if you remember, but we
don't.
fell out of escrow the first time. It was like, what was the weekend? It was like the weekend we got into escrow, and then it went into the weekend where I think the U.S. was bombing Iran or something, and the market got shaky and stock market tanked like
Spooked
like 30% or whatever it was.
Were we in
I remember I had like other transactions. I like, 6 million of transactions fell through that weekend. I was talking to my partner, Seth O'Byrne, like he had 10 million in, escrow that fell out. So, yeah, the market got shaky.
It was already a tough time. I mean, we were in Q3 of 25, which, I've monitored very closely on Real Report for a long time, and yeah, I mean, it was a tough time to sell homes in general. But
yeah,
I did not know we were under contract. Even my notes, I don't even have that.
So we were under contract, and it was almost for the full ask.
Okay.
It was like I think it was like maybe $20,000 under. So I think we were priced right, but once we fell out, it just kills the momentum.
Yep.
And I think. Part of it could have been like I was really hoping that the buyer agent was be able to help his clients through that.
Yeah.
But no, he wasn't, and that just kind of hurt our momentum, I think.
We had something similar happen on a Delmar property. We had it under contract.
Oh yeah, off of Delmar Heights, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like our ARV on this thing was like 3.5 or 3.6, but we had it on contract at 4.1, and it was the first weekend they hit the market.
Yeah.
Tariffs. That was in it was in April, March, or whatever.
Yeah.
Buyer walked.
Yeah.
And we ended up like $350,000 later selling it at 3.7 or 3.8. It's crazy how
so it happens.
It happens.
And last year was a tough market. It was not an easy market.
It's going to be tough for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the nature of, we went up, 35% in a 2.5 year period. Like, we just, we overshot. It's a little bit of a correction over time. Yeah. Anyway, in the end, it sold, right? So this is how the numbers played out. Our purchase price was 1.675. That was without out of commission, right? Mm-hmm. So we were all in. We were partners on the deal. Our rental cost ended up being $201,512. Buying cost was $6,341, which is pretty low considering the purchase price. Financing cost is $87,670. Ended up taking 106 days to sell it from. So after we fell out, we kind of sat, and then we sat for a bit. We did a reduction.
Yeah.
And ultimately ended up getting it under contract at 2.175.
Which is not a terrible price, but we sat on market for a long time as the holding cost.
Yeah. So our original hold period, I think we were thinking we would sell it within like 75 days. So we ended up going like a month over contract.
Yeah.
That really impacts the financing costs. So this is where. That's why I said time kills all all deals, and 30 days makes a big old difference. So our financing at 87,000 ate away into some of the profit margin. Other costs for us, it's like property tax, insurance, staging, photos, property maintenance, pool maintenance, and all that stuff. So that was 28.5 when we were there. 53,493 on the selling side, and we ended up giving a credit for 72.5. So final sales price was 2.175. Our ARV was 2.2. So we went a little over time, a little under ARV.
Yep.
And then with the 72.5 credit, a little bit more under ARV, and then a little bit over budget. Not the perfect scenario for sure, but it's still.
Still made money
in the grand scheme of things. You made money, right? Like we, especially in 2025. In 2023 or 2022, 2025 was the worst year since 2022, the latter half of 2022. So from any win that we had in 2025 was like, let's count our blessings. So we had an outside investor who brought in the money here. That ended up, it was like a 250,000, 300,000. Like to do this project, we needed a sizable amount of money. So, we're doing, 50, 60 projects a year. We self-fund a chunk of them. We bring in investor partners for a chunk of them. So we brought in an investor partner on this. So after the investor split, 25% I went to Devin, 75% went to We Revive. So again, I think on our pro forma, we were thinking that if we hit everything, your profit was going to be more like pretty close to 30,000.
Yeah, it was like,
which would have been pretty similar to a commission at that point. That was our hope. Obviously, the cost overruns, time overruns, it was a little bit lower. But you turned a what would have been a dead deal by being willing to get creative with us.
Yeah.
You were all your effort would have been gone anyway. You wouldn't have been able to get a commission because we couldn't have paid any more. You helped us buy it. We kept the lights on for a little bit. We didn't make a killing after we pay everybody, but that's what it's about.
Better than a sharp stick in the eye, right?
I know. my wife says better than a karate chop to the throat. All right. Anyway, knowing what you know now, would you have done anything different?
No, I don't think so. I wish we had another offer when we had the initial offer to choose maybe a better one, but that was like the only offer
we had to take
that we had,
and
we just had to take it, and I knew it was not going to be, I knew it wasn't the best.
This price point in particular, got, it really slowed down really quick. There's a lot of money in this price point.
Oh yeah.
But they don't have to buy. Like a lot of the times you get this in these situations where they want to move and they have the money to do it even in this unaffordable market that we live in. You go to the price points lower where you have they have to buy. They need to get into a school district. They've been killing themselves on rent. In these cases, they just pull back when it gets hairy in the macroeconomic world. So 2.175, I'm happy. We're pretty dang close on our ARV. It would have been great to go over, but
we'll do another one and we'll go over on the next.
Let's
right?
do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you learned a thing or two about what actually goes into what we do here and the transformations that you see in those pretty photos online. Join us next time.